All right, mic test, mic test. Okay, I think we are good. Let me just double check my mic. Okay, so we are currently live in Facebook as well. No, I'm in my Facebook page. Um, Although I still don't see it being dated. So let's see. So hopefully you can see my screen. Nandito lang tayo ng tao. Okay, so this is going to be, we are, it's 8:02. Okay, just let's give them a couple more minutes, no, to enter. But we are not expecting a lot of participants sa live natin because we are going to stream this over Facebook as well. Okay, and the topic for today is about fundamental analysis. Ito yung gagawin natin today. Marami sa mga traders hindi masyadong focus sa fundamental pero napaka-importante kasi nito sa trading talaga. Kung wala kang alam sa fundamental, parang nanguhula ka lang talaga sa gagawin mo sa trading. So, might as well, no? Let's discuss this, let's focus on this, and let's give you some tips on how to make your fundamental analysis better and help you, to figure out saan ba talaga papunta yung market? So, mag-buy ba ako, mag-sell ba ako on a specific month or a specific week? So, yun yung pag-uusapan natin today. Pero sige, let's give them one more minute and then again, we are live in Facebook right. Okay. So it's 8:05. We are going to start. Okay na lahat. Audio is good. And I can see that we are also live in Facebook at the moment. Again, let me double check para lahat naman makapanood nito, no? Once they seen this, let me just double check. P Prime, are we live? Okay, we are live. Okay. Cool. All right, so let's start, no? Fundamental analysis in forex trading is what we're going to talk about. We need to understand yung mga economic forces behind currency movement at mamaya malalaman natin. Napaka-importante nito sa mga traders, no? Pero isa sa mga napakabayaang topic altogether. Okay, so let's talk about what is fundamental analysis. Okay, so one, it is a study of economic and political and social factors involved sa currency na tinitrade natin. Now, we are currency traders. We are forex traders. We are buying and selling currency na may value. Okay, and that value moves up or down depending on how good the economy of the country that owns that currency. So kung maganda ang economy ng US, obviously tataas ang value niya. Kung hindi maganda ang economy ng Japan, obviously bababa yan. And of course, how that move is also um, impacted by kaino ba siya tinitrade against. So let's say Euro, US dollar versus Japanese yen might have a different move compared to let's say pound Japanese yen kasi magkaibang economy naman ngayon yung kino-compare mo. Does that make sense? So the economic factors, malaking bahagi yan ng pag-move ng price, but that move is also different based on the currency pair that you are trading. Okay? So, for example, euro US dollar, you are basically pairing or comparing no, yung economy strength ni US, ni euro versus the US dollar. Okay? So, economic factor, it basically fundamental analysis evaluates a country's overall economic health. And what we are looking at with fundamental analysis is yung long-term impact ng currency valuation. Okay, again, long-term impact ibig sabihin, this is more for a long-term approach, not for a scalping approach. So ibig sabihin yan, if you are a scalper, you put less emphasis, you put less weight dun sa fundamental. But the higher your time frame of trade is, okay, the more that you go higher, let's say you start trading the 1 hour or the 4 hour or the daily, nagkakaroon ng mas weight yung fundamental analysis because now you are looking at an overall economic health, overall currency valuation. Okay? And the approach of fundamental analysis is so different from technical analysis. Technical analysis is what we talked about last time. Okay? Ito yung pinag-usapan natin last Friday. Okay? So, why use fundamental analysis? One, it drives the trend. Ibig sabihin, the fundamental analysis or yung fundamental quote-unquote ng isang currency, it tells you if the market's gonna go up or down long term. Okay? So, if you have a good fundamental analysis of a certain currency, nagawa mo na yung 50% ng trabaho ng isang trader, which is to understand, to figure out kung saan pupunta yung price. Okay? Kapag nagawa mo yan, 50% of the work has been done. Alam mo na agad kung ano yung titrade, kung paano ka mag-trade because you have a good idea kung saan pupunta si market. Okay? Second, it basically allows you to anticipate. Okay? Or anticipate yung action. Help predicts the central bank's move. Okay? Now, when you think about fundamental analysis, ang inisip ng mga tao, it needs to be reactive. Actually, it's the other way around. If you do fundamental analysis, it really gives you a sneak peek kung ano ba yung gagawin actually ng central bank. Kasi makikita mo sa fundamental analysis, if you're going to analyze na yung mga job numbers, marami bang may trabaho, yung GDP, mamaya pag-usapan natin yan later ha, yung gross domestic product, maganda ba yung measurement ng economic output? Okay? Those kind of things. Pag nakita mo yung numbers, they are the same numbers that the central bank's chairmans are also looking at. So, ibig sabihin yan, if you are able to analyze it, you can anticipate what the central banks will do. Are they going to increase the interest rate? Are they going to wait for the interest rate? Are they going to parang tear it out? Okay? So once you can anticipate that, it becomes so easy to understand, okay, the market is going to increase its value because I'm anticipating that the central bank's Fed or the Feds will just, increase interest rate. And so it becomes so easy. Okay? Third, it complements yung technical analysis. Actually, it goes hand by hand talaga. Uh, you start with the fundamental analysis, okay, and then you figure out where to enter your trade using technical analysis. Okay? The way I trade, I actually start with technical. Why? Because there are a lot, especially if I do not have any currency pair that I'm trading, meaning wala akong exposure whatsoever, and I need to scan the market for a good opportunity, I would scan the market first with technical analysis. Ano ba yung maganda yung setup? Okay, kapag nakita na ako ng mga potential good setup, that's the time that I look at fundamental to figure out, okay, this is a good setup, but will the price continue to go higher or lower? And then once I figure that out, I go back to technical analysis because now I need to time the market. So fundamental analysis tells me if the market will continue with its direction, and technical analysis allows me to enter a risk-free trade or an almost risk-free trade. Okay? And lastly, no, trader focus, it's useful for swing and position trading talaga. That's why it matters to use fundamental analysis because if you are more of a swing or position trader, then as I mentioned earlier, you need to give more weight sa fundamental analysis. So, now that we already know why it matters, no? Ano-ano ba yung mga economic indicators or yung mga fundamental indicators that we need to watch? Okay, now there are a lot of currencies and and equivalent number of countries, and each countries might have more focus on one aspect of their economy versus the other. So iba-iba pa rin siya. However, in most cases, these are what we are looking at. Okay? So one, let's talk about GDP. So ano ibig sabihin ng GDP? It's gross domestic product. It is a measure of the total economic output. Ibig sabihin, gaano, as a country, as an economy, marami bang pinoproduce yung country ko para maibenta sa ibang bansa? Okay? So each country would have its own product or services that na tinatangkilik ng ibang bansa. Okay? And so, if there is a high gross domestic product, the tendency is that there would be a stronger currency due to economic confidence. Okay? Kapag maganda yung GDP ng isang bansa, mataas, ibig sabihin, okay, marami siyang pwedeng maibenta, maraming potential siyang kitain, and therefore that's good for the economy, and of course, equivalent, stronger currency. Second, we need to look at inflation. Now, inflation itself, when you look at a fundamental calendar or economic calendar, actually, let's look at one in trading view. So this is a okay. So this is the economic calendar. Okay, in trading view. Now there are a lot of other type of fundamental calendar like this or economic calendar like this across the internet. Okay, you just try to find something na madaling maintindihan. And for me, pang trading view, madali naman siya maintindihan. As you can see here, June 6, Friday, first Friday of the month, there will always be non-farm payroll. Okay, this is related to the US economy, as you can see here. It tells you the hour, kung anong oras. So, in about 15 minutes, no, ilalabas na yung non-farm payroll numbers. Okay? So, makikita naman natin. So easy to see here. You have the actual, you have the forecast, and then you have the prior as well. Okay? Ano ibig sabihin yan? Well, the prior was the number that was provided last month. Okay? The forecast is kung ano ba yung sa tingin ng tao before ilabas yung number, what most economists think the number will be, and then of course the actual. So yung actual lalabas siya in 14 minutes and 22 seconds. Okay, so this is basically how it looks like, no? As you can see here, maraming diyang numbers, and all of that basically goes back, no, is under any of these categories. Okay? Yung kaninang non-farm payroll, ito, non-farm payroll, and unemployment rate, these are basically under, okay, employment data. Okay? Inflation, on the other hand, as what we are already talking about right now, we are talking, this might be CPI, PPI, mga consumer producer index, yung mga ganyan, those are related to inflation naman. Basically, it tracks the rising prices of goods and services. Okay. Sa Pilipinas, alam naman natin yan, no? Kasi talaga medyo mataas ang inflation natin right now, no? Around 2%, I believe. Okay. So, bakit napaka-importante niya, no? Kapag tumataas kasi yung inflation ng ng isang bansa, ibig sabihin yung mga produkto at mga services niya tumataas. Okay? In paper, that's actually good, no? Kapag tumataas yung mga produkto. Kasi ibig sabihin niyan, maraming demand dun sa mga produkto, sa mga services within the country. However, what what any economy won't want to see is kapag nagkaroon ng hyperinflation. Kasi ibig sabihin niyan, sobrang bilis ng pagtaas ng mga produkto, baka hindi naman makasabay yung mga tao, hindi makasabay yung sahod or salary or kita ng mga tao at negosyo. Okay? So kapag medyo mataas yung inflation, may chance na yung central bank mag-raise siya ng interest. Okay? So, balik ngayon punta naman tayo sa interest rate. Ano naman yung interest rate? Interest rate is basically set by central banks to control inflation and growth. Okay? So, ano ba yung interest rate? Ito yung interest na pinapatong ni country sa mga pautang niya. Okay? Naghumingi kasi ng utang ang isang bansa using treasury bonds, treasury bill, no? Ang kadalasan ng mga bumibili niya, mga bangko. Okay? At let's say they would put up interest rate on top of that. Ibig sabihin, pag pinautang si gobyerno, ibabalik niya after 6 months or after 1 year or after 3 months with interest. Okay? So the higher the interest rate, okay, mas ang nangyayari, yung mga banko, yung mga financial institution, because low risk si country kapag siya yung nagpapautang, okay, low risk yan, mas gusto niyang ipautang yung karamihan ng pera nila sa gobyerno. Okay? Ibig sabihin, kapag mas maraming pinapautang na pera yung mga private entity to the government, mas konti ngayon yung pera na napapautang para naman sa mga private individuals, para sa mga private businesses. Okay? So in that way, kapag konti ang naipapautang sa mga private individuals, sa mga businesses, medyo humihina ng konti yung economic growth. And that is what you want kapag nagkakaroon ng high inflation. Kasi kapag humihina ng konti yung economic growth, ibig sabihin bumababa rin yung demand at that would control yung inflation. So interest rate is a way for the government to actually control the economic growth and therefore inflation. Okay? Kapag naman medyo nakikita nila hindi masyadong maganda yung um, hindi masyadong maganda yung economy ng isang bansa. Okay, nakita nila medyo konti yung demand for products and services. Ano gagawin nila? They would actually lower the interest rate. That means that mas marami ngayong pera ang mapupunta sa mga private individuals, sa mga businesses, especially sa mga businesses. Kapag maraming pera ang pwede ipautang sa mga businesses, ang pera na yan, gagamitin nila sa pagpapalaki ng negosyo, sa pagpapalawak ng negosyo, sa pag-hire ng mas maraming tao. And therefore, there will be more demand for the currency at tataas ngayon yung economic growth. Okay? Lastly, employment data. Gaano karami, tulad nung nangyayari na couple of minutes now, no, yung non-farm payroll. Non-farm payroll is basically a measure kung gaano karaming tao sa US ang magkakaroon ng salary within the month. Okay? Hindi kasama, kaya sinabing non-farm payroll, hindi kasama yung mga farmers. Hindi kasama yung mga yung mga seasonal employees, no? Yung mga ano lang, yung mga non-seasonal employees, ibig sabihin yearly merong salary. So it tells you kung gaano karami yung kumikita, okay, sa US, yung magkakaroon ng salary. So the higher the number, ibig sabihin mas marami ang may salary. Mas marami ang ibig sabihin na mas maraming may trabaho. So you also have unemployment rate here. It tells you kung gaano karami ang employed or unemployed, okay, sa US right now. So the higher the number, okay, that's actually bad for the currency. Kasi ibig sabihin mas maraming taong walang trabaho. Okay? So those are the numbers that we need to look at. Okay, economic indicators, GDP, inflation, interest rate, at saka employment data. Again, different countries would have different focus. So for example, um, si US, focus siya sa dami ng tao na may salary, okay, na kumikita, kasi they are a service-oriented economy, okay? Pero to compare that, let's say, sa New Zealand, okay, they are more into migration numbers. Alright? So, iba-iba yung focus ng ibang bansa. Depende sa klase na economy that they have. So, let's talk about central banks and interest rates. Okay? So the central banks, they are the one that governs the monetary policy of a certain country. They have the power to change the interest rate. They have the power to put up new monetary policy, and that gives us an idea of how the country would like to govern their economy. Okay, napaka-importante ng monetary policy sa ng mga central banks. Okay? So one, monetary policy. Central banks like the Feds or the ECB for the Eurozone or the BOJ for Japan, they use policy to control inflation and growth, as we mentioned earlier. Okay, they are the one central banks. They are the one that puts in a rate hike. Okay, they put in a rate hike if they want to strengthen the currency. Okay, if mas mataas ang interest rate, okay, ibig sabihin lang yan that the economy is growing. And that's good for the currency, right? Kapag tumaganda yung economy, ibig sabihin, uh, gumaganda rin yung currency ni isang bansa. So for example, no, if the Fed or the Federal Bank sa US no, raise their interest rate, okay, the USD typically gains due to increased demand for investors seeking higher returns. Okay? Mas mataas yung interest ng isang bansa, mas marami nagkakaroon ng interest na magpautang sa US and therefore it increases the value of their currency. Okay? Now, before siya mag-increase or mag-interest rate hike, okay? Or before they lower down the interest rate. Normally, okay, maraming discussions, maraming meetings na nangyayari between the federal chairs, okay? And at the same and also may mga times na and this is actually happens a lot na magsasabi yung isang chairman or isa sa mga member ng Fed no about what they are talking about. Yung mga ganyang announcement, okay? Pinapanood yan, pinapakinggan ng karamihan ng mga traders ng mga bangko. Why? Because it will give us a good idea if they are thinking of increasing the interest rate or if they are not actually thinking of increasing the interest rate. Okay? So, doon pa lang, no, if someone from the Fed went to an interview and they are very hawkish, no? That means the way they talk, they seems to be very optimistic about the economy. Okay, what we call that hawkish. Okay, they might be optimistic about the economy, they might be aggressive on inflation, and if that is the case, kahit hindi pa sila nag-i-increase ng interest rate, no, mapapansin mo na tumataas, nagkakaroon na ng strength yung kanilang currency. Okay? So parang inuunahan na ng market normally kung itataas ba talaga or hindi ng isang central bank yung kanilang interest rate. Yung kabaliktaran naman yan is if the person is dovish, yung announcement nila is a little bit dovish, they seem to be not really optimistic about the economy. They feel that the economy is getting weaker. Okay, we call that dovish naman. At kapag ganyan naman, tendency is the price weakens. Okay, baka kailangan kasi ng economy ng supportive growth, baka kailangan niya ng stimulus, and that is magwi-weaken si currency. Okay? And of course, any kind of statement by the central bank can influence expectation even before any kind of policy move. So as I mentioned earlier, no, it's a forward guidance. We have to look at those announcements. We have to look at what is the position of any central banks because they are the one who's guiding the economy. So if they say that they are optimistic about the economy, there's a big chance that they are going to increase interest rate. Okay? Then makikita natin talagang gagalaw yung market. So for those who are long-term traders, this is something that we need to understand as well. Now, how do we find data about those sa mga central banks na yan? Again, those are actually part nung economic calendar. Okay? It will tell you kapag merong isa dyan, nakita ko na kayo na, yung Fed Chair Powell speech, no? So this is one of those speeches na binibigay actually ng chairman ng Board of Governors ng Fed, okay? And that tells you if they are going to be dovish or hawkish. Now, what we just discussed so far are yung mga fundamental or economic indicators that are what I would call scheduled. Ibig sabihin, scheduled sila, no, every month may lumalabas na ganyan, or every quarter may lumalabas na economic indicators. Now, all of that will be tracked by an economic calendar like this. Okay? Mapapansin mo, every month meron talaga yan. However, there are times wherein may mga news na nakakaapekto pa rin sa pagtaas o pagbaba ng value ng isang currency na hindi mo makikita sa economic calendar because they are not announced. And normally, these are political and geopolitical events. Makikita mo ito sa news mismo. Okay? So, political stability, okay, kapag nagkakaroon ng gulo o sa isang country's government, okay? So, diyan makikita natin if mapapansin mo gumagalaw din yung market because of those kind of things. So, yung mga news na yan, political stability or instability, okay, it might provide strength or weakens the currency. Okay, so a more stable government obviously attracts more investment and then strengthen the currency. Elections and policies, no, nakaka-apekto rin yan. So if there is a big election, especially yung mga presidential election, at yung nanalo, no, is pro-business, that's have a tendency to strengthen the economy as well. Again, yung election normally nakaka-apekto talaga siya sa value because whoever manages the country uh, has a say on what would be the move of the country, what would be the economic movement or measures of a country. So, dyan pa lang makikita natin kapag kung sino yung nanalo at tumaas yung value ng currency, that means pro-business yung nanalo most of the time. Okay, so again, it always goes back to will the government be a stable government or the election will create an unstable government. Third, geopolitical tension. Okay, ano ibig sabihin natin dyan? Geopolitical, meron bang gera? Meron bang pandemic? Okay? Meron bang away? Meron bang Cold War na nangyayari? May batuhan ba ng issue right now from between, let's say, China or the US or any other country? So these are geopolitical tensions. Okay? Now, the geopolitical tension might be between two countries, but in most cases, affected din kasi yung mga neighboring countries. So it might be a regional thing as well. Okay? So kapag medyo maraming issue na nangyayari at maraming affected na country, okay, dito pumapasok yung concept natin ng risk on, risk off. Okay? Kapag sinabi nating risk on, meaning safe yung ano ngayon, safe yung uh, time right now and it attracts investment. Okay, walang masyadong gulo. That's going to be risk on. Pero kapag sinabi nating risk off, ibig sabihin maraming tension na nangyayari, maraming unknowns na nangyayari, may mga wars na nangyayari. And kapag ganyan, yung mga negosyante, they tend not to invest too much on their businesses. They tend not to grow their businesses. And so that will be a risk off trade. So kapag ganyan, sabi nga nakalagay dito, uncertainty creates safe haven flows. Okay? So the USD, Swiss franc, and Japanese yen, these are considered as safe haven. Kapag may geopolitical tension na nangyayari at the risk of tayo, chances are tataas yung value ni USD, Swiss franc, saka ni Japanese yen. Okay? As well as gold as well. Being a safe haven currency. Risk sentiment as well, yung risk on, nakalagay natin, yung EM currency rises, risk of safe asset rises. Those are another thing as well. Geopolitical tension and risk sentiment, they kind of overlap one another. Other than geopolitical tension, okay, there might be other events in the world that might create risk on or risk off. So for example, may pumutok na vulkan and that affected, let's say, and this actually happened, no? May pumutok na vulkan near Bali, Indonesia, okay, and that affected the region. So medyo naging risk off yung region na yun because of that. Okay? Sorry, going back pala, may nakalimutan ako sabihin. So, example no, ng geopolitical issues, no, and risk on risk off as well, no. So to give you an example of this, one thing that we can look at would be the Russian-Ukraine conflict or yung Russian-Ukraine war, which is still ongoing up to this point. Okay. Now, because of that, because of what happened, it actually caused the EUR to weaken. Okay? Bakit? EUR. Ano ba yung EUR? EUR or yung euro is the currency in the eurozone. Okay? Not just Russia, not just Ukraine, right? But mostly these are neighboring countries. So, yes, kahit hindi kasama yung mga eurozone countries dito sa gera ni Russia-Ukraine war, in a way they are affected. Why? Because of their proximity to the parties of Russia and Ukraine. Okay, not just proximity, but also their economic alliances with these countries. Karamihan ng mga bansa sa Eurozone, they are buyers or sellers of energy, no, of gas and oil from Russia, and so they are affected because of that. All right. Another one would be the U.S.-China trade war. Okay, because of yung girian between the two countries, okay, nagkaroon ng ano, parang nagkaroon ng risk off between the US dollar and Japanese yen. Because of that, tumaas yung value ni US dollar sa kanang Japanese yen. Okay? So these are, what you see here is basically a simple table between fundamental and technical analysis. Okay? Para makita natin yung difference between the two. So one, fundamental, its focus is more on economic forces. Okay? Ano-ano ba yung mga entities that pushes the price to move higher or lower? Saan ba papunta yung pera? Okay? Money flow yung pinag-uusapan when it comes to fundamental. On the technical analysis side naman, it focuses more on price and chart patterns. It's really more about timing. Okay? Ano ba yung pattern right now, and is the pattern going to continue or not? Is the pattern something that would provide you with better risk reward ratio? Second, no, yung time horizon. So for fundamental, okay, mas mayroon siyang weight if you are a medium to long-term trader, meaning you are trading the 4 hour or longer, then fundamental analysis has more weight compared to technical analysis. While technical analysis has more weight if you are more of a scalper to a medium-term trader, meaning 1 minute up to 1 hour, then you give less weight to fundamental analysis but more on technical analysis. However, as a guide, no, any trader, I would recommend to focus on both. Okay, to balance their fundamental and their technical analysis. Tools ng fundamental analysis would be news, reports, indicators, and economic calendars. Samantalang ang technical analysis naman relies on technical indicators, trend line, and of course, yung ating naked chart trading or yung ating uh, uh, price action trading. Okay. So, economic calendars, pwede mong gamitin. Forex Factory. Maganda yung economic calendars. OG na yan. Forex Factory na yan. Investing.com has its own. The one I showed you is TradingView. It has its own economic calendar. Okay? Newsfeed. You need newsfeed, especially dun sa mga geopolitical events, mga other news na hindi kasama sa economic calendar. So, ang ginagamit ko would be Bloomberg, Reuters. For forex trading, there's also um, FX Daily. Okay, FX Daily. Sorry, Daily FX. Okay, so this is one. Okay, it's Daily FX. So, magbasa ka lang dyan kahit mga headline lang. No? Naka-base naman siya sa currency pair na tinitrade mo. Okay? And then there's another one. No, daily forex is fine. Pero, what's the other one? I forget the other one. Is it daily FX? Yeah, so daily FX is another one. So daily FX, wala. So this is another good one, no, yung FX rate. So kasi gusto ko dito sa FX rate, meron siya dito. So lahat ng currency pair na gusto mo, makikita mo na siya dito. Ay, pang So for example, like I want to trade Euro USD, and it will provide you, yung mga news, current news na nakaka-apekto sa euro or sa US dollar. Okay? Maganda rin magbasa-basa nito, especially if you are new to trading, because may mga ano tayo dito, may mga analysis tayo dito, so that you would know how professional traders do their analysis as well. Okay? So this is something that I really recommend you to do, yung magbasa kayo ng mga financial website like this. All right, and of course, no central bank website. I I you can go to the central bank websites and see, okay, but most of the time yung mga bank statements, mga bank statements, yung mga Fed statements and whatnot, makikita mo na rin naman yan dito sa mga news na ito. Okay? Makikita mo na rin siya. So case study tayo, no? It's 8:39 and sabi natin meron tayong news kanina, di ba? Asan na yan? So nakita natin, non-farm payroll, okay? Previous was 147, forecast was 130, okay? Medyo mas mataas ng konti, yung actual is 139. So we can actually check euro US dollar and see how will that impact the currency, okay? So let's look at the 1 hour. Let me just remove some of the videos here. Okay, so as you can see here, it looks like the Euro-US dollar is tanking. Okay, bumabagsak siya. Ibig sabihin that is in favor of the US dollar. Okay, bumabagsak siya because, nasa na yun? Yung calendar natin. Okay, non-farm payroll is actually better than forecasted. Okay, so even though the previous was 147, which is good, mataas siya, no? And the current forecast and even the actual is lower than the previous. Still, we are looking at the kumaga, impact na yung actual is mas mataas pa rin sa forecast. And so we see this, no, kind of move, no? Angat baba yung price normally, that actually happens. That's why for beginners, I do not suggest that you enter your trade on in news time. Okay, especially kapag may mga ganyang malalaking or high impact news na lumalabas kasi talagang mataas yung kanyang volatility. But after 30 minutes or so, mapapansin mo na the market will move to whatever the fundamental provides you. No? So in this case, better US dollar, okay? So that means babagsak pa yan. Okay? Unemployment rate is the same, so hindi yun naka-apekto masyado, but it's the non-farm payroll that moved the market lower for Euro USD. So non-farm payroll, it's always released first Friday of each month. Again, first Friday of each month. So higher than expected NFP means stronger US dollar, which is basically what happened right now. Lower than expected NFP means a weaker US dollar. Okay? So that's basically it, no? Again, fundamental analysis is not something that we would be able to master in just one sitting. It takes a lot of time for you to understand what's actually happening in an economy, especially if you are not part of that economy. So ano ibig sabihin nun? For example, if you are a Filipino, nasa Pilipinas ka, mas marami kang alam sa nangyayari sa bansa. Mas marami kang alam sa nangyayari sa ekonomiya ng Pilipinas kaysa sa ibang bansa. Kasi nararamdaman mo siya na experience mo siya every single day, right? So alam mo kung ano pa may sinabi si government ng ito, alam mo na agad yung possible na mangyari sa ekonomiya. Meron ka ng idea kung ano ba yung um, magpapalakas o magpapawikan ng ekonomiya ng Pilipinas. Kasi you experience it yourself. But if you are going to parang try to master, okay, yung economy ni US or economy ni Euro, economy ni Japanese yan, you really need to read, alright? You really need to research, do your research, read a lot for you to have a good grasp of what's happening in their country and what kind of economic indicators should you focus on. Okay? Kasi papasok din dito yung tinatawag nating sentiment. Ano ba yung feeling ng mga tao na nandun sa bansa na yon about a certain economy? Kasi minsan, kahit sabihin natin na mataas yung ekonomiya ng isang bansa, maganda yung kanilang inflation, okay? Minsan, it's still about what does the country feel, okay, about their economy. So that's called sentiment. I would like to parang put a separation between what is fundamental and sentiment. So we'll talk about sentiment some other time. But to summarize what we just talked about, okay, fundamental analysis is really looking at the bigger picture, yung macro picture, understanding the overall economic trends. And as a fundamental analyst, you need to focus on economic reports. You need to focus on economic calendars and figure out how those numbers impact the money flow and the demand for a certain currency. Okay. We also have to watch the central bank's actions and statements because basically these are the guiding principle that will push the price forward or not, and we need to combine our fundamental analysis with technical analysis so that we could have a better chance of winning our trade. And most importantly, as a fundamental analyst, you always need to be alert. You always need to be updated. That's why it's important that we read, the news all the time. Dito sa mga aggregator, mga financial website na pinakita ko sa inyo. Okay? And that is how you do fundamental analysis. Alright? Again, as a beginner, it might be a lot, pero as you read through the website, as you get familiar with the economic calendar, it becomes easier over time. So that's it for today. I hope that you learned something from this webinar. Again, we are live in Facebook right now. If you miss anything, just go to the website or go to Facebook page, and most of our videos are still there. You can binge watch on those videos if you miss any of the previous webinars that we had. So again, maraming salamat and happy weekend.